It's funny for somebody who has like no bandwidth for people, which is what you just said. When we go in places, like you asked the lady that was checking us out, last time I was here, you said you sold your house in California. Like, do you have any family here? You ask the deepest questions that gets people to open up and tell you their life story. And then you get in the car and you're like, oh, it's so much. And you're like...
Oh, testing out the 2 mic setup with the...
oh, you mic'd me up.
I did. You're mic'd up.
Wow. It's so light.
Isn't it cool?
Breezy. You don't even know it's on.
This is the Hollyland Lark M2. Hollyland. You got to say Hollyland Lark M2.
Why is it Hollyland?
Because that's the name of the company.
Oh.
So.
I have 2 observances already.
What?
1, be careful when you're married to Jason, because I didn't even realize that he was putting a mic on me. So. Ninja mic guy. But no, I really love it, because normally when I'm wearing a mic, it's kind of heavy and it weighs my clothes down, or it makes my clothes kind of come down when I'm wearing the other mics that we have.
Yeah.
And this is so light and really kind of inconspicuous too. So it's not like when we're out and about, if we are filming somewhere, they're not going to be like, they're filming.
Well, and that also...
It's kind of nice.
Because the other mics we have are the DJI mics, and they're not bad. They're small.
Yeah, we like them.
But they are like...
They're pretty obvious though.
But also another thing for you especially is that it also limited you to
what I could wear. Yeah.
So you couldn't wear any of your like light blousy type shirts because it would just like
making it fall over. Yeah.
It would jack up the shot, or it would
Women have that issue,
they
and the
do.
mic guys must be dudes.
Exactly. So poor engineers.
So whoever thought of this was genius.
Genius. Let's make the size of a button.
Genius.
Also, I don't know if you guys noticed, but just for the record, I was dressed first. So.
Because we look like Twinkies.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
We've
morphed into each other.
Yeah. So we're going to go head to breakfast, and then we're going to go do some work. So yeah, I just thought I would do a road test with the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, and I've also got the wide-angle lens, which is really cool. The wide-angle lens on this is magnetic on the DJI. So if I take the light off, watch the difference. See how it pulls in?
Oh yeah.
See the difference? But it's so cool because it's just boom, magnetic, boom, magnetic. I don't know if you guys have been watching Amber's stories. We're working on a book. Actually, she's working on a book, and it's awesome. We've got this amazing woman that we met at one of the masterminds that we went to, Alaric, the YouTube guy. We at his mastermind met Donna. She flew in, helping you with your book. How's it going?
This is day 4 of 10 solid days of nothing but working on the book.
Is it day 4?
Day 4. And yesterday was a lot better than the first 2 days. The first 2 days, you're just kind of, I'm giving her all this stuff, like just so much stuff that's in my head, so much content that I've made, and I'm sure that's a lot for her. And then, she's doing her job, saying, this is good, this is not good, this is, I don't want this to be in the book kind of a thing, it's too much, or you have too much good stuff. Too much stuff is a bad thing.
Too much stuff is a bad thing, yeah.
So it's so interesting. Basically, you have 2D personalities that are trying to write a book together. And I love it, though, because she, that's the whole reason we hired her, is she knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
But in all fairness, it has not been easy for me to give up control. What? I know, it's shocking. You and I collaborate a lot. Usually you have things you do, I have things I do. And so what has it been like trying to watch me give up control?
Well, I think...
because I'm very uncomfortable.
It's very uncomfortable. Yesterday morning, you said something, where you were worried, and should I ask her, about now that she's done this? And there was a lot of worry about things that hadn't even happened yet, and so I didn't understand that. And so I was like, why are you worried about a process that you don't even know? Because one thing that Amber does is that she she thinks out loud, and she's the process isn't finished, but you're thinking out loud. Well, Donna's the exact same way. She's like letting you in on the process. So that's when it's it's not the finished.
So, yeah, she might be saying
thing.
something, and and I'm like, is that going to be in the book? Because not necessarily, but I don't know that, so I start to worry.
But I think it's really cool to see you kind of go outside that comfort zone. And the biggest takeaways that I liked, and if you're out there and if you're looking to write a book yourself, the coolest thing that she said was, there's two main important things on the cover of the book, the title and the author. And if people don't know you, and if you're writing a book for the first time, then this is going to be true for you, where people don't know you. And even though a lot of people know you, in like
just locally,
yeah, you still have to go think a bigger picture. And the people that don't know you, that means the title is most important. Only time the author is important is when you're known. And so that pulls into really paring down your message into what you want to talk about. She says something cool. She's like, famous people that everybody knows, they can write a book where they can pontificate, they can go on and on forever and talk about
all different
everything,
yeah,
because they're known. Whereas if no one knows you, then you need to make it just about one small thing to help people out. And I thought that was super cool, because in the past when we talked about writing books and things like that, it was like, I'm gonna do this.
You just want them to know everything.
You want to know everything,
yeah,
and people just don't.
And that's a detriment.
Care. Yeah. But we like First Watch. We like coming here in the morning and grabbing some breakfast before we start our day, because it's amazing, and we love their food.
It's like a breakfast date before your day gets crazy.
Right? How good is that? That's probably one of the coolest things is I get to have breakfast with you.
Well, I just think it's important with your spouse that you distinguish between the time that you're going to talk about work and then the time that you're having a date. Because you have to connect on other levels than just work.
No, that's true. It's also, I think it's difficult to do because we work.
Well, when you're in business together, it is hard not to just talk about that all the time. And that's why you have to that's why I'm kind of purposeful about it. Plus, you have to have some point in time where you're letting it all go. Like you have to have downtime in your brain, not just to connect with your spouse on other levels, but just so you can have a minute where it's not about work.
That's true. That's true. It's difficult for me more in the morning because I'm a morning person. So I get up and I'm like, ready to go. It's a lot easier for me to, like if we go out to, it's easier for me to not talk about work in the evening than in the morning. Because in the morning I'm ready to go, all my thoughts are ready to go, I'm having ideas. And
it's time to work, yeah.
In my head it's time to work.
But that's why we do talk about work at breakfast, because it's kind of our work time. I mean.
Well, yeah. You gotta get the day started.
Oh my gosh. You mic'd me again. Reading emails and boom!
Boom!
You're mic'd up.
But how do you not know I'm making you up?
We had tough conversations at breakfast.
We did have tough conversations.
About our lack of discipline.
Lack of discipline.
And eating. And...
We're foodies.
It's like a drug.
I think people say foodies because... is it easier to say foodies than I just like to eat?
Well, being a foodie is making me a fatty, so I'm going to say that right now it's not a positive term for me. But yes, I'm a foodie.
So, one of the things that I happen to do, being neurodivergent, is called stemming. And the things that I do to stem are different. They go through cycles, I guess.
Yeah, like every quarter, I feel like you get a new one. Sometimes you'll hang on to one for like a year or two.
So I have got a couple.
They may not even know what stemming means.
All right, so let's back it up. So if you're on the spectrum, high functioning autistic. Stemming is something that you do to cope with. It's one of the mechanisms that you have when dealing, for me, public. And so for our servers, I'm really outgoing because I think a server job is very stressful and they tend to deal with people who aren't very happy. But so I tend to try to engage with them and talk about whatever that I see them interested in. But dealing with just people in general tends to wear on me. So whenever we leave someplace, or I'll get to the car, I'll stem, and it's not like long.
It's out loud. So.
But it's out loud, And so sometimes I'll do like a low, I call it a low whistle, where I go, so I can do it. And it's just a low whistle, but there's one that makes me laugh. But what is it? Is a Swedish chef.
Yeah, it's a Swedish chef from the Muppets. And I'm like, where in the heck did you pull this noise out from? Like, I mean, what made you choose that one?
I don't know. So I just got the car, and I'm like, work.
And I'm like, oh, here we go. Like, is there any other stemming noise we could change to? It's been a while on that one.
Yeah. Sometimes if I'm thinking, I'll tend to beatbox a lot. I'll go or something.
Oh, yeah.
But,
Yeah.
But work. That's I don't know.
That one came about 5 months ago, and I'm like, where did you pick that up from? Like, why that one?
I don't know.
Yeah. Day in the life.
Day in the life. That's what we do. All right, so we're heading back to the house, and we are going to. You got to work on the book.
Got to work on the book. Well, we need to go get some healthy groceries because we just had a tough conversation about how bad we're eating.
Yeah.
So we're going to go get a few healthy things to have at the house while we're writing so that we don't eat crud.
Like pizza. But I've got to do some lead gen today.
We got to do some lead gen every day.
Well, I'm talking about like what I like to call the introvert lead gen. So I've got about 7 blogs I've got to write, and then matching Pinterest boards or Pinterest pins and some other things that I can do to get my SEO up and running. And then I got to start planning my video schedule.
I'm just going to be writing the book. And since my husband's already been filming me all morning with no makeup on, might as well continue that trend.
Yeah,
I guess I don't need to
do
put
it.
any.
So we're at Sprouts, and one
You
of the
should
things.
do it like, just include him in the conversation without saying, you don't need to narrate it, just say it.
My wife directing. She's got to go through the day without being in charge, so she got to get it in.
You better cut all that.
Got nothing. Make sure you bring your bags to Sprouts because you always forget them in another car. Get it, babe, get it. Get that bag. Why don't you like lick your fingers?
The grocery store now, dirty my fingers that probably from touching stuff? That's nasty.
Those are like Warner Brothers carrots. It's like Bugs Bunny carrot right there.
So I'm trying something I saw on TikTok, of course. To put your chicken sausage and dip it in cream cheese or cottage cheese
That sounds disgusting.
with mustard.
I'm on the search for honey, and I found it.
It's funny for somebody who has like no bandwidth for people, which is what you just said. When we go in places, like you asked the lady that was checking us out, last time I was here, you said you sold your house in California. Like, do you have any family here? You ask the deepest questions that gets people to open up and tell you their life story. And then you get in the car and you're like, oh, it's so much. And you're like, well, why did you ask questions that would do that?
I don't know. I think that
What makes you feel like you have to, or do you want to?
I'm always curious.
But are you really curious?
I'm curious to know, but in knowing, you can't have both. You can't want to be a people person and want to know more about people, or want people to get to know you, which no one does. But they have to tell you the story, which that's the hard duality of it. Like I can't ask really good questions. I think that just comes with the territory of doing what we do.
But then I'm not sure you really care about the answer. I feel like you're just filling space and time so you're not uncomfortable.
Probably that's it.
Is that true? Or
I think,
and Texas drivers.
I think that is true because, well, I think it's different. When I talk to people and ask questions, for me, I always listen. I always hear you in my head because you said whoever's asking questions is in control of the conversation.
Yes.
And so,
but what makes you want to start that with somebody that you're going to see for like 1 minute?
Well,
which is a great quality, by the way, when you're in sales.
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
I don't know. But did you notice how every conversation that we have always leads back to real estate with people?
Yeah, it's true.
The conversation we had with this woman,
yeah.
she was from California.
She's about her house.
Checking us out at Sprouts, and a 75-year-old woman came from California, and I said, would you go back? And boom, she started talking about her property, and she made a killing on it, and she would want to go get a condo.
She wants a condo.
She wants a condo back there.
That's what I said. It's a great sales quality. I just think it's funny coming from the guy who says it wears him out, that initiates that. It works out great for me because you're always starting great conversations. But
well, like you were saying, I think some agents miss out on opportunities because they're so rushed. Like you said, you wouldn't do that. You would just go. You'd be polite.
Well, yeah, I like when I go into a store, I want to get in and get out. Like I hate going to stores. But by having you there, now I'm always polite to people. I'm not mean. Like I appreciate anybody who's helping me. But yeah, it's a great sales quality to have you around because then you can start great conversations.
But then I don't know. Then it becomes awkward.
But it's weird that the person that says people take a lot of bandwidth out of him is the person that's the best at connecting.
Well, I don't say people take a lot of bandwidth out of this. It's not like they drain me. It's difficult for me to pick up. Number one, it's always difficult for me to I can read body language, so I understand what someone is thinking, feeling, and reacting. But it's a lot of effort on my part mentally because I can't. It's difficult for me to pick up emotions that people are having. So I have to spend time reading all of their nonverbal communication in order to understand what's happening.
But what I find funny though is I wasn't thinking about any of that. I was thinking about getting in and getting out. It's a good Christian quality to have too, in case you have to pray for somebody or something. But
no. All right, we're back home.
All right, let's get to work.
Get to work.